So my name is Julli Griesheimer. I am from Waynesfield. I am a family member of people in recovery, and I am an advocate.
Well, thanks so much for taking time to join us today. If you could start off by sharing a bit about your childhood and what life was like for you having people who had a substance use disorder.
Yeah, so, I was raised by a single mom. She had 4 kids, and we were raised in poverty, but one of the things that was just standard for us was especially alcohol use. It was around, I don't remember it not being around. And it wasn't even just, my own mom. She was one of 5, and it was the same thing for them. Her father was an alcoholic, and so alcohol was just always there. And so being raised in that environment, I sought out peers that were comfortable with the same environment. And so, I remember being as young as, 10 or 12 years old and being around people who were smoking weed. By age 14, I was around people who were actively smoking crack cocaine and doing all kinds of substances, but it was just Wednesday. You know what I mean? Like, it was just a regular day. That didn't necessarily happen regularly in my home life, but all of the chaos that happens in those types of environments, it just was just what we did. And so it took me a long time to recognize that the substance use was not something that everybody experienced. And so with the culture in my own family came violence, it came children's services, it came unhealthy relationships. I had my daughter when I was 15 years old, right? So all of that chaos things that happened, and so it really wasn't until I was into my late 20s and it's moving into a professional life where I started to reflect on, oh gosh, it's not normal to have a parent who would physically harm you. It's not normal to have substances offered to you by a safe adult in the home. It's not normal for your parents and family members to be married and divorced 5 times by the time they're 30. So it was all of the things, and to me it was just, like I said, Wednesday. It's just normal. And so it took me a really long time to realize, and I still struggle now. I'm 40 years old and I still struggle with, is this normal? I don't know what that normal is, or is this a trauma that I experienced and didn't even know? My educational journey started with an associate's degree, and in that program there was education around the genetic development of substance use. And I have a sister who, even when I was young, I think I was in my early 20s, and she already had developed substance use that had just derailed her life. And at the time, being who I was, being in the family that I was, my thought was, it's a choice, because I chose to do something different. She had all of the same choices in my mind. She had all the same choices, but she didn't. That was her. And it took years for me to stop blaming her. I believed it was her fault and her choice, and that's a problem, because it wasn't. She had a genetic predisposition. She had an opportunity that maybe I didn't have, and it just took her. I happened to not have that presented in my life, and so I recognize that I'm lucky in a way that she wasn't. That's really the only thing that happened, is I'm lucky and she wasn't.
Have any of your family members been able to find their way in recovery?
Yes, actually. So I have 2 sisters who've struggled with addiction, both of which are in recovery. My mother is in recovery. I have a brother-in-law who's in recovery, and with the exception of one family member, I don't think I have anybody who's in an active addiction.
So if you could describe some of your educational career and your professional development and how the pieces that you started to learn along the way.
I got a master's degree in criminal justice, and it was an oops, okay? That really wasn't where I was supposed to go, and so I ended up going back and getting my master's degree in social work. And so currently I'm a licensed social worker and a licensed chemical dependency counselor.
Those are fantastic degrees to get, and they're very much in institutions. So whether they're treatment centers, criminal justice system, the children's services, and you have found yourself really in the recovery sphere of things, both mental health and substance use disorder. Can you talk about how that came about and why that's the place for you?
It's strange for other people. Everybody's journey is a little bit different, but for me, working in recovery and working in mental health and just community-based setting, this is where my best work is supposed to be.
So as part of this community adventure, what did you start with? And because you are the director of Wings, mm-hmm. and are you the founder as well?
No.
Okay.
No.
So you're the director of Wings, and a really impactful organization within the county. So could you talk a little bit about how and you've really expanded the organization as well. So where where Wings started and what you have been able to do and why you have done these different things throughout the county.
So I landed at Wings by accident. I was really looking for somewhere to grow, and I didn't know a ton about it, but there was an executive director, an executive director position available, and I thought I really work well at the macro level in terms of programming and that kind of thing, and so I thought, what the hell, I'll give it a try, and they hired me, and I was like, okay. It was surprising to me. And now I knew the work though, right? So I knew it was peer support, and I believe in peer support. I believe in the power of helping people, because that's what I do. I happen to have more education, but I'm a people helping a people, right? That's it. And so Wings had been around for more than 20 years. They became an official business in 1999, and advocates, old timers, they say that it's been back into the 80s even that Wings has been around doing services. But officially, according to record, Wings became a business in 1999 and have always done peer support type work. And we're in Union County. We started in Union County, and we had tons of support from the local mental health and recovery board. They are integral to our services. Honestly, they're really wonderful.
For somebody who doesn't really know what peer support is, how many peer supporters do you guys have? How do you support them, and what are the things that peer supporters actually do, and the things that really is treatment and whatnot?
Okay, so peer supporters are a person who has a lived experience of substance use or mental health recovery, and they use their own experience to help somebody else on their journey. And they do that through really just inspiring hope, being available, saying things like, when I was going through that, I tried this. Have you given that a try? I remember when I was struggling and I wasn't able to talk to my mom for years because X, Y, and Z. Maybe I stole from her, or maybe, whatever the case was throughout my journey, normalizing that instead of demonizing it, because when you're a person in recovery, all you do is tell yourself you're not good enough and tell yourself how bad you are and the terrible decisions you make. And so having another person who not only made similar decisions, but now they have a relationship with their family, they're doing really well, they have a professional job. So that's really what peer support does. They really just help other people on their journey, and they do that through, one-on-one meetings. We do it through groups. So we have several group support opportunity or peer support groups. We do family education groups. We partner with NAMI, and they do some family support services, and we have several support groups related to family services. We also do parent peer support in Union County, and we're working to make more education available for the family peer support option through the state of Ohio. And we Union County holds the education privileges, I guess, for the FREDLA training model, which is one of the 2 curriculums that are available for family peer support. And we have 2 of the trainers that are available through that are doing both the parent peer support and the parent peer support supervisor training. So we really advocate for that and help bring it aware. Like, we just want people to be more aware, right? And one of the tasks that the Mental Health Board really asked us to do is to make events available that fight stigma. And so they bring people together who maybe don't identify as having a history of substance use or mental health, and other people who do, and you put them in the same area so we don't know who's who, and then we actually get to know people as human beings. And so we do things like, we have Fatherhood Festival. We try to do that every year, and this year we brought the Columbus Zoo, and they brought real life animals, and the kids were able to interact with them. We have a block party. We went kayaking not that long ago. So yeah, we do a lot of things that would incorporate everyone. And then the other thing that we do is, again, meet people where they are. And so sometimes we have little people who are coloring while we're doing peer support, or maybe they're in our drop-in center and they're playing some of our video games, or engaging with some of the art activities that we have, while we're trying to help mom or dad or grandma or whoever work through the challenges they're having related to recovery.
You are just an amazing advocate and ally for people with substance use disorder and mental health. What are there some words of wisdom that you could share as far as somebody who wants to be an advocate, who wants to, whether they have lived experience or not, but wants to support people with substance use and or mental health disorders? What are those kind of 1 or 2 tips that you could share for somebody who wants to get into being able to be a bit more of an advocate?
I think number 1, the most important thing that I would say is humble yourself. Like I said, I personally came from a moment when I was blaming somebody for becoming addicted. And it took me to say I was wrong before I could really recognize what I could do right. And so taking a moment to see other people might be judging people, people might be treating them poorly. You don't know what they're bringing to the table. You don't know what information they have, where they're coming with it. And so then I think the second thing that would arm you and help you would be educate yourself then.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your very full life and busy schedule to be able to share your story, and the work that you were doing is just exceptional. It's wonderful to see in a pretty rural part of the state how much hope there is. It's just heartwarming to see. So thank you so much.